Welcome to Between the Line podcast. I'm Jade.
And I'm Laura. And we are here to talk about everything in life to do with health, wellness, relationships,
Parenting, homeschooling, business, and everything in between. Today we are talking about self-care. So in my household, it's a very controversial topic because I am extremely terrible at doing self-care.
And that's why we're talking about it.
So our goal for today is to talk to you about all things self-care in terms of what is self-care, how self-care impacts our lives, how we can let go of some of the guilt associated with self-care, and hopefully you can get something out of it, and hopefully we can follow our own advice.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got some amazing tips, and then I'm going to rewatch this video and go, yes, okay.
Yeah. Why didn't I think of that?
Yeah, we can give so many other people other advice. You know, are you listening to your body?
Yeah.
Are you getting enough sleep? No,
the world doesn't stop. Things don't die if you're not there.
Yeah.
But it comes back to all the other podcasts, and we talk about that self-awareness and bouncing ideas off of those that you care about. We are here to be a non-judgmental community. I have my non-judgmental sounding board sitting next to me, and we understand that in today's busy times, those communities are gone. So our goal is to share this with you so you don't feel alone.
Yes, absolutely. And you can share with us as well. We're here to listen.
Absolutely. All right, let's kick this off.
Okay.
All right. What is self-care?
For me personally, it's when I feel quietly connected to myself.
I've never thought of it like that.
Yeah, I feel a sense of peace.
Oh, that's beautiful. I've never ever thought of it like that. There you go. I do not have an answer that good. Self-care, I feel, is when you are able to take a step back from the demands and feel like you are recharging.
Yes.
Like you have the ability to breathe and to think clearly without all the other pressures on top of you.
Yes. So that's connecting to yourself.
It is, isn't it? All right. So if we don't get self-care, this is where it leads to burnout, right?
Yeah, like we've talked before. Resentment.
Yeah. Yep. Anger, feeling frustrated, not being able to feel like you have anything left to give.
Yes. And the joy is sucked out of you because it is going outwardly to everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah. As you said earlier, you can't fill from an empty cup.
Yeah.
It's a pretty big cliche, but it's very true. If you have given everything to everyone else and you don't recharge, then you've got nothing left to give.
Yeah. Well, it's not quality.
Absolutely not. It's definitely not something that you want to let fall by the wayside, but it definitely is something that, for me, I know, I definitely don't do self-care as often as I should, which makes me, I forget about me.
Yeah.
I forget about me. And I don't feel like I guess sometimes it's that guilt, and I feel like I haven't done enough. I don't deserve to have that self-care. I don't deserve to take time out from the family because there's still things to be done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm too guilty to take time out from the business because there's still things to be done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which definitely leads to resentment.
Yeah, I would agree with getting everything done first, and then I can relax and have my shower, do my things that I like to do. Tick all the other boxes first, have everything in its place, and then I can think about doing something nice for myself.
We both know, though, that that's actually not what we should be doing. We really should be taking care of us first. And I'm not saying we should, throw all our responsibilities out the window. That's not the the plan. But we definitely do need to focus on the things that fill us up first.
Yes.
Because how can you take care of your family if you are on the edge the entire time? If your central nervous system is like, I'm completely overwhelmed and I can't do this anymore.
And the ones you love the most, cop it.
Oh, absolutely. You yell, you scream. Not that you want to, but you do.
Yeah.
You push them away. You don't feel as connected.
Yeah. Or you actively disconnect. Sometimes I'm just got AirPods in my ears and I can't give.
Yeah, there's just nothing left to give.
Yeah.
What do you do for self-care?
I like getting massages.
Yep.
Or facials, things that nurture my body.
Yep.
If I have the time and the energy, if I wake up early before a class, I'll do some stretching and put some meditation music on.
Yep.
Listening to spiritual podcasts is a self-care for me. It feeds that part of me that that I like to explore.
Yep. Yeah. I like massages, but I'm still in the early days where I feel overwhelming of guilt.
Okay.
But I think that comes down to because at the moment I have got so many balls up in the air. And, you know, like at the moment there's lots of balls in the air. And I feel if I take away, like, it's got to come out of something.
Yeah.
For my self-care, I've got to take time out of something.
Yeah.
And at the moment, everything feels equally important.
Yeah.
So if I take away from the business, honestly, I could be at the workshop all day and no one needs me. The minute I go to coach a class on a Friday and 9 o'clock hits and my phone will ring 10 times. Like, and you're like, why? Like, you haven't called me all week.
Yeah.
But the time I'm not available. So I've always got that fear is if I take time during the workshop time, what's going to happen? And then if I save it for the weekend, well, we don't get much family time during the week. And then there's the guilt of why do I get to escape from the family?
Yes.
So
I have that too.
Yeah, it's really tough, isn't it? You definitely, I know I shouldn't feel like that because I know my family wants me to feel relaxed and wants me to be calm.
Yeah.
But I just can't bring myself to do it. When I go, I feel amazing. And all those worries just disappear, but it's just getting there.
Yeah.
And it's funny, you mentioned about listening to podcasts. I've never actually thought about that time that I spend listening to the audiobooks that light me up as a self-care. I've never even crossed my mind that that's an act of self-care. I love listening to business audiobooks. And I'll listen to that for hours. I'll even lay in an ice bath and listen to an audiobook. I'm crazy. And I'll lay in an ice bath for 15 minutes because I don't want to stop listening to the audiobook.
Yeah. So there you go.
So yeah, I didn't even cross my mind. For me, a form of self-care is exercise.
Yes. Same.
I don't feel like I have recharged if I don't exercise. And one of my favourite ways for self-care is 2 o'clock on a Sunday. Our phones go on Do Not Disturb.
Yeah.
And I have a shower and I'm in my jammies and I'm on the couch.
Yes. Yeah.
And generally the goal is after 2 o'clock on a Sunday, we don't see anyone.
Yeah.
I don't talk to anyone. I don't look at anyone.
No one looks at you.
No one looks at me. Well, except for the TV. I look at the TV. Yeah. The bra is definitely off at 2 o'clock. That is self-care. Bra is definitely off at 2 o'clock on a Sunday. Yeah. So if you come and visit me at 2 o'clock on a Sunday, I am not putting my bra or my undies on underneath my jammy shorts. Just putting it out there.
I understand.
Have you ever felt like a loss of self when you haven't had that self-care?
Definitely. Before we had kids, I did a lot more self-care. So I would regularly have massages. I would go to the beach by myself.
Yep.
I would go to cafes by myself.
Yep.
You know, it was a lot more self-orientated.
Yep.
And yes, since we've had kids, what was the question?
Loss of self if you don't get self-care.
Yes. So you're just giving to them.
Yep.
Especially when they're so young. And, you know, you reach that burnout, you're exhausted, lack of joy.
Yep.
And, yeah, not really knowing what gives me joy anymore because I am so tired and giving to everybody else.
Yep.
After having the third baby, and I had also quit one of my main careers, and we moved up here, and I wasn't trained before I met you. The training just wasn't sparking me at all. I wasn't teaching yoga. I hadn't started playing netball, so I just didn't know who I was, what I loved to do, where I was going. It was just all for the kids.
Yeah, it was just giving all that energy to the kids and the house, and there was just nothing there. Do you schedule self-care or?
Not necessarily. Well, I guess I have to with Mike because he has to be with the kids. So if I'm scheduling massage or that's kind of mainly it.
Yeah, okay. Do you sort of go, oh, you know, once a month I'm going to do this?
Yes. So I really enjoy going to spiritual women's circles, which they do once a month. Okay. So I just make sure that date works and or something along those lines that I try to attend.
So that's something that I need to take from you, and I need to schedule that time.
Yeah.
So much like an appointment, much like much like my training that is more of a habit now than, you know, waiting for that motivation, I need to schedule that self-care. Okay, on this date every month, I'm going to do this. Because otherwise I just won't do it.
Yeah, and if you can already sense that you're getting close towards burnout, that needs to come in. Yeah,
well, you know, as we were talking before we started filming, and in a previous podcast, I've experienced burnout because of work, and usually we take quite an extended period of time off over Christmas, and as you know, my Christmas didn't necessarily go to plan this year. So we moved house. My daughter ended up in ED. My dad ended up in ED, and we jumped straight into the new year, onboarding new staff, and I just haven't had that break.
Yeah.
And there's been no self-care.
Yeah.
And I can feel it. I can feel that I'm strung out, and I can feel that I'm dropping balls, and I can feel that I'm losing what gives me joy because there's been no care, no love for me.
Yes. And even though you are doing these love projects and these things that you're passionate about, that's kind of separate to actually something that's very quiet for yourself.
Yeah, and I think that's the quiet time that I'm lacking.
Yeah.
And you know, it's not, it doesn't come down to finances either, because self-care doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be a massage. No. It can be sitting on the beach reading a book. It can be, if you love driving, going for a long drive, listening to a book that you like listening to.
Yeah.
It can be laying face first on the grass. Apparently that connects you to nature. So a couple of the gym members tell me apparently that
face.
If you are really struggling with your central nervous system, they reckon you're supposed to go lay face down in the grass. I don't know. I've never tried it.
Okay.
I have a dog.
Oh, God. I might not try on your grass. I mean, I've heard of earthing where you have barefoot on the grass and barefoot in the sand and all that, but face down, I mean, I'm not going to knock it until I try it. Getting out in nature, definitely. So since we moved to the hills, have it going on the bush walks and it's funny because sometimes I'm like, I just don't want to leave the house. I don't want to go out for a big walk. But once we're out there around the trees, it's so nice, and I'm so glad that we did.
Yeah.
And we feel rejuvenated. Everyone does.
Absolutely. Even, like I remember when I was younger, so I grew up in Esperance, and the beaches were stunning. You had the Port Authority, you got to watch all the cargo ships come in. And I remember, you know, as an 18-year-old, no kids, you'd sit down there for ages. Like we'd meet in our lunch break and we'd sit down the port and you'd watch the ships come in, and it was just so relaxing. And I think, why can't I just get back to that self-care? Because I know if, with the kid in the car, it'd be like, are we done yet?
Yeah.
Why are we sitting here? Why is it so quiet?
Your
Just shut up.
Because the drive there and back ruins it all. I've lost my train of thought.
But we were talking about how that self-care doesn't have to be expensive.
Yes.
And doesn't have to be extravagant or take a lot of time. Once again, this is something that I should follow my own advice. Even just having a nice long hot shower.
Yes. That's what I was going to say.
There you go.
Yeah, a long hot shower. So if I'm doing like a face scrub and I'm actually looking in the mirror and I'm taking my time and I'm thinking about how much I love my body and how good this is feeling for my body, and actually look at myself in the eyes and say that I'm beautiful to myself.
That's nice. I like that.
So as corny as it sounds.
No, but that's practicing that self-love, right?
It
and that
is,
positive
yeah.
self-talk rather than letting those negative talks impact our life.
Yeah.
It's going back to the body image one where we talked about grabbing at our bodies in the mirror.
Yeah.
We're trying to move away from that. We're trying to move towards things that fill our soul with happiness.
Yeah.
That make us happy. You know, looking in the mirror, as awkward as it is, and saying I am beautiful or I love my body, is self-care.
Yeah.
It's retraining ourselves that it's okay to take care of us.
Yes. Yeah. And doing those things like painting your nails or things that you don't normally make the time for.
Yeah.
But you sit down, make yourself a tea or a coffee, and you enjoy the process doing it slowly.
Yeah. And it's about letting go of that guilt to enjoy the process.
Yeah.
And that's what I said to you, like when I get there, I'm okay, but getting there, I'm full of guilt.
Yeah.
So for me as well, having to like retrain myself to say, you know,
It's not selfish.
it's not selfish. Taking time out is not selfish. Once again, it's one of those like societal conditioning, right? That it's selfish. If a mother leaves their child, it's selfish. You know, if a husband and wife go on a date night, it's selfish. It's all those pressures to be perfect all the time.
Yeah.
And rather than caring for ourselves, we're just aiming for that perfection.
Yeah.
Which then leads to losing ourselves and burnout and just not enjoying life.
Yeah. I even say it to Mike sometimes. I can see he always wants to be ticking off the list, and he's saying we've got so many things to do, and I've had to say to him, you need to tell me when you need some time to do what you need to do. He loves creating bonsais.
Yep.
That is his self-care because he's peaceful and quiet out in the garden, or meeting up with his friends. He's a very sociable person. That's self-love.
Yeah.
So you have to make that time. If you don't make that time, no one else can do it for you.
Yeah. And I guess it goes back to as well when we talked about boundaries.
Yeah.
If you're not prepared to create boundaries around all these other things and all these other tasks that we've got to do in our life, then making time for self-care is not going to happen.
Yeah.
In between filming, we went out to the kitchen and sort of scoffed our faces. And I was talking about how I found it really hard to film the boundaries and the burnout one because I'm shit at boundaries. I'm shit at self-care. Like, I know that. And I can give great advice on it,
Yeah.
but I just can't stick to it.
Yeah.
I let those inner negative voices rule what I've got to do, and that's
It's
not
not
fair.
that you're shit at it. It's that it's just you've not made it a priority in your life. You put everyone else before yourself. You go above and beyond, and now it's just shifting your perspective to actually know self-care is a priority in life.
And I guess for me as well, I'm slowly realising that with self-care, then I'm able to keep giving.
Yep.
I'm a very empathetic person, as you know, and I give my heart wholly. So there's no, if I'm in, I'm in.
Yep.
But if I run out of self-care, that is also something that starts to come back a little bit, and I stop showing up because I have nothing left to give.
Yeah.
So if I want to continue to be the empathetic person and to give the care and the love that I love to give to people, I do have to stop and do that self-care.
Yeah.
I think it's time I booked that facial you got me for Christmas.
I was just thinking that. I'm like, when people start giving you facials and huge hampers full of self-care stuff, it's like, take care of yourself, bitch.
Yeah, so Christmas, the coach has got me a facial, and then the other week a member brought me an entire basket of sleeping products. Yeah. So sleeping bath salts, sleeping face masks, essential oils for sleeping. I think they're trying to tell me something.
I think you need some sleep.
Maybe just a little.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's I'm more than happy to dish out the advice, and I'm more than happy to watch people's kids while they go and do self-care, but it's that guilt that often holds me back from it. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think as well with self-care, it's not, you get to go to the groceries, so there's your self-care, you're away from the kids. Or, whilst training is so important for self-care, it's very high intensity. So you do feel pretty depleted some days from it, that you don't actually feel like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty highly strung anyway. And I definitely can tell when the workouts are not filling up my cup.
Yeah.
Because I'll jump 6 feet in the air, but I was just having a giggle to myself when you said about, you got to go to the grocery store. I don't know if you've seen that meme where it's a mum walking from the passenger seat to the front door and said the best 30 steps of my day is when the most quiet time of my day is when I put them in the car and I go to the driver's seat.
Yeah, that is not self-care, okay?
That's definitely not self-care.
Because you're often like, oh, shit, as you're going back to your car.
Watch your fingers. It's a really tough topic, especially when we're not great at it ourselves.
Yes.
It's a really tough topic. And this is hopefully like the first one of many on this topic, and maybe we can revisit it later with, maybe an expert but it's a really tough topic. Especially as mums, I find that there's so much pressure that everything has to be a certain way.
Yes, yeah, I agree.
So we forget about self-care. Well, it's not that we forget about it. We know we need to do it. But it just gets pushed aside.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, well, I think that is enough us talking about self-care today. What do you reckon?
We would actually love to hear any tips that you'd like to bring forward with self-care, what it is that you do, and it may help someone else that might read through the comments. And maybe just start small. Start with something that only takes 5 minutes out of your day, but plan it for the day. And that while you are doing it, this is giving back to myself. Be really intentional, and 5 minutes will soon turn into 10.
I love that. I love that you've said to be really intentional about it. I know when you teach yoga, and at the start of the yoga, you say, think about your intent for this session. And I think that's a really good point. So when you go for your self-care, be really intentional about it. Switch off that phone. Get your partner to keep the kids away from you for 5 minutes, or turn on a movie that you know is going to keep the kids occupied for 5 minutes. so that you can go behind that closed door and lay in a bath uninterrupted for 5 minutes.
Yeah, your body, your cells respond to the intention you put through.
Yeah.
So they are receiving this is me giving back to me.
So yeah, please share your self-care tips. I, for one, would love to know some other options for self-care. And yeah, maybe I can give them a go and I can report back to let you know that I'm actually taking care of myself for once.
We will check in on this.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you very much. We look forward to seeing you next time.
Bye.
Bye.